Crestwood Middle. Happy Thursday. So periods 2, 4, and 6, we are in this unit 12, and we started out with cellular respiration assignment along with the carbon cycle. All right, and you guys did that, and then there were some questions that you were posed with. And so this is the assignment here. I just want to draw some attention here. There are 3 reactants to photosynthesis. The reactants are the things needed for photosynthesis to occur, and those are going to be carbon dioxide, sunlight, and water. Reactants for photosynthesis to occur: sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. So there was a video that I played. In fact, maybe I'll just play that. But remember I had you watch the video? Yeah, we'll do this. So the next thing that I had you do was, here, go to our stream, click that link, this video. Here, I'll just hit play. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but you took notes on this, you know, I'll go along with it. So the tree, you know, telling the story about how a tree as a photosynthetic organism grows throughout its life. And so in the atmosphere, there are gases, okay? There's oxygen, there's carbon dioxide, xenon, fluorine, miscellaneous gases. But the trees and any photosynthetic organism is gonna pull in carbon dioxide, okay? Carbon dioxide, and it wants to hold on to that carbon, okay? That's what a tree does. So through photosynthesis, which by the way only occurs during sunlight hours, this is not 24 hours a day. So what I'm saying now, this process does not occur, you know, the entire day. It's only during sunlight hours. Trees pull in carbon dioxide. They uptake through turgor pressure. They have a xylem and a phloem. They pull nutrients and water. So water is one. Sunlight. So like I said, in sunlight conditions where the sun's energy is streaming from, it takes about 8 minutes or so for the sunlight from the sun to reach Earth, comes through the atmosphere, interacts with the chlorophyll, which is the photosynthetic pigment. Chloroplast is the structure. The chlorophyll, okay, will take the carbon, so this is through this process of sunlight, okay, with this process, take the carbon, take the H2O, the water, split apart the carbon, the hydrogen, and let go of the oxygen as a byproduct, okay? So the reactants are gonna be sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water for this to occur. The byproduct, in this case, is oxygen. So the trees let go of oxygen. And so I went into, you know, further detail here, but I'll scooch ahead. So oxygen is about here in the video, where I have a little demonstration showing how a flame can be put out by basically smothering it, depriving it of oxygen, showing that oxygen is an important reactant in a chemical reaction. Okay, so that's kind of the, you know, the point I want to tie into here. So hit pause on this. And the next thing that we did was the circulatory system, which I gave you yesterday, okay, on the 21st. Let's see, I'll just do this. So I'll scooch down to, I don't know, something that'll show us the chambers. Okay, here we go. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. All right. So speaking of a human being, okay, we have a heart, right? Learned that a long time ago. You know, put your hand over your heart during the pledge. Your heart is a muscle, okay, that's contracting and releasing, okay? We call that pumping, okay? So it's beating, it's pumping, it's moving a fluid. That fluid is blood, okay? That blood is transporting materials all over your body, okay? Transporting oxygen, transporting other gases like carbon dioxide, nutrients, coenzymes from foods and things. So functionally, we have 2 hearts. We have one heart, one structure, but it's kind of subdivided. So there's 4 major parts to it, okay? There's the left side and the right side, and there's 4 major parts, okay? So over here, this will kind of give you a little demonstration. You got the right atrium, you got the right ventricle, the left atrium, left ventricle. Let's talk about that. So blood moves around our body, like we said, and in this lesson, you learned that the reason why blood is the color red is the presence of something called hemoglobin. We're going to talk about hemoglobin in a minute. So blood, red blood cells, okay, are in the plasma that makes up our blood, and from the right side of our heart, okay, because like I said, we have kind of two sides to it. There's 4 chambers, 2 sides to it. The right side of the heart, through the right atrium, okay, comes in deoxygenated blood. That's blood that does not have any oxygen, okay? So blood with no oxygen comes in the right atrium, goes down through a valve and into the right ventricle. Okay, then it's pumped to the lungs via an artery. Okay, it's called the pulmonary artery. And that's a rare exception where an artery carries unoxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood. Okay, so like I just said real quick, blood comes in with no oxygen on the right atrium, down through a valve to the right ventricle, goes to our lungs, okay, where it picks up oxygen. Okay, so once the blood now has oxygen, it comes back, it returns to the heart via a vein called the pulmonary vein, which is a rare exception where a vein will carry oxygen-rich blood. So that oxygenated blood comes into the pulmonary vein through the left side of the heart, the left atrium, down through a valve to the left ventricle, and then through the aorta, and then goes to another part of the system, and they call that the systemic system. So to back up, catch your breath. There's 2 systems, the pulmonary system and the systemic system, all right? So pulmonary system deals with the lungs and getting oxygen to the lungs. The systemic system delivers that oxygen-rich blood throughout the body, okay? So you have learned about cellular respiration and ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So the part that I want you to kind of hone in on here is that I mentioned earlier that there's this part to our blood, our red blood cells, called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin has an affinity to bond to oxygen. That means it very easily and readily bonds with oxygen. Okay, so when we are moving blood through our body, we're carrying oxygen that, as we mentioned earlier, is a reactant with cellular respiration. It's carrying that oxygen, which is a gas, and then removing removing a gas from our body called carbon dioxide. So our blood will transport both oxygen and carbon dioxide, as well as hormones and nutrients and things like that. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so there's a system, there's a network of delivering oxygen-rich blood and removing carbon dioxide to expel as waste. So that carbon dioxide makes its way back to your lungs. So as you exhale, you are expelling what our bodies consider to be a waste product, something we don't need, and that's carbon dioxide. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say for now. We're going to get into how ATP plays a role in higher elevations, how athletes will go to higher elevations to train their body, to condition their bodies to function and a higher altitude where there's less oxygen, and then when they come back down to sea level, they kind of have an enhanced performance. I'll tell you those stories later. We'll talk about the Krebs cycle, which is something that you will get in 8th grade. All right, but today, after you have already done yesterday's assignment on circulatory, I have another second part right here called the circulatory part 2. Where'd it go? Up here. All right, so today's date, February 22nd, circulatory system part 2. All right, you are to work your way through taking these notes as always and answering questions along the way. Questions today are not for a grade. There will be a quiz on it tomorrow. All right, so there we go. I'm here if you have any questions. What is this recording? Bugger.
One more.